A good man is intolerant. I don't mean he is a racist or a sexist or a bigot of any kind, but he has beliefs that he strictly adheres to, and beliefs are inherently intolerant, as to believe in anything, you must disbelieve something else. One of the most indispensable rights we have as people is freedom of speech and thought. In my own home country of Bulgaria, this was denied from people up until the late 80s under the communist regime, and even today, in countries like North Korea and China, people still face the issue of being shirked any right to speak freely at the threat of incarceration or oftentimes even death. And although it is overt and clear to us what is happening in these countries, in the West today, we are faced with much the same issue, although it is implicit and disguised. People all across Europe and America are being silenced, their religion and culture stripped from them. And for what reason is all this happening? It's in the name of tolerance. In today's world, there are two types of people: those who believe in something and those that don't believe in anything. We have collectively started mocking the latter group as NPCs or bots, but these people very much exist, and their attitude is a lot more insidious than mere indifference. People of this sort blindly believe whatever is told to them, be it from their government or the news. Just like in Orwell's dystopian classic 1984, these are the types that will be the first to believe that 2 + 2 = 5, were that day to come, if it hasn't already. People of the sort, those easy to manipulate and implant ideas within, are dangerous in numbers, as if you can get enough of them on your side, you become justice, the bridge between right and wrong. The people you control give you ultimate power by asserting what you indoctrinate them with. In the past, wars were fought to defend culture and religion. This is how strongly our ancestors felt about what they believed in, and strong principles like these are exactly what guided all the great nations and empires of the past to glory and supremacy. What made the Romans the global superpower of our planet for almost 2 millennia? Anywhere they went and claimed as Roman soil was kept to their exemplary Roman standard. This includes building roads, sewerage, bathhouses, their architecture consisting of intricate marble, and having some of the first large libraries storing the knowledge of centuries past. There's a reason why there are walls thousands of miles from Rome standing to this day. It's because the Romans stood firmly by their values and beliefs, and this is what allowed their empire and people to prosper for so long. And it's not only the Romans where we can see alike trends. The Middle East, a few centuries after the rise of Islam, saw a golden age with significant contributions to mathematics, including algebra, geometry, and much more. This was a vast contrast between the previous state of Arabia, a largely pagan region, crime like theft and murder being rampant, and yet not long after the adoption of the strict value system that a religion like Islam accommodates, it saw not only a reduction in the previous crimes, but an increase in the scientific feats that helped propel Arabia forward at a time that the rest of the world was in a dark age. While we are on the topic of Islam, let me set out a scenario. Is it possible for a Muslim and a Christian to be friends? Their beliefs differ vastly, and the separate religions, they worship different gods. It's clear that a Christian can't believe in Allah while also staying true to his own faith, as it's a blatant violation of his doctrine. And yet, this doesn't prevent these people of different faiths to become acquainted. I myself as a Christian have many close Muslim friends who adhere diligently to their religion, as I try to do to mine. Now, let's look at a different example. Can a Christian and a gay man be friends? Well, if we go by the previously established rhetoric, there should be absolutely no reason why not. Just like how the Muslim and Christian hold different beliefs, and despite not subscribing to what the other party believes, they still maintain a mutual respect for each other, we would then be inclined to believe that a Christian can befriend a homosexual, holding respect for his friend while believing homosexuality a vice, as his religion teaches, just like how the homosexual can befriend a Christian even though he doesn't believe in his God. Unfortunately, this is not what the West wants. The scenario I laid out is not only one of two men showing tolerance for one another, but even more so respect. Respecting the other's different beliefs and not letting an opinion spread enmity. The West will say that anybody who doesn't believe homosexuality an undisputed virtue, whether it be for religious, cultural, or personal reasons, is a de facto enemy and a bigot towards the group at large. They are labeled as such in the name of tolerance, as it's intolerant to disagree with another man's lifestyle choices. Let me say that again. It's intolerant to disagree with another man's lifestyle choices. See how nonsensical that sounds? As a Christian, I disagree with not only the lifestyle choices, but the life philosophy of Islam. And yet I have utter and complete respect for the religion, and it hasn't stopped me from eating from the same plate as Muslims before. And the West preaches that we ought to be enemies over a difference in lifestyle? Their veil of tolerance is thin. It's not helping build a more open and accepting society, it's spreading hate and hostility, and further dividing us. What kind of freedom does one have if one can only use it as someone else prescribes. The problem with censorship and hate speech is how easily both can be leveraged to control the flow of information and ultimately warp the truth. Ironically, what democracy and liberalism used to stand for is now exactly what the left wants to suppress. They don't want the people to have freedom of speech. They want themselves to be able to exert control over what others can or cannot say. The tenets of liberalism and likewise libertarianism are ones I firmly stand by and agree with. The importance of individual liberty and the freedom to act with sovereignty. Unfortunately, this is something that the West no longer supports. In North America, as well as in many European countries, it has become a very real possibility that you can get fired from a job or expelled from your school simply by saying the wrong words. And as a final note, I'd like to share with you a personal story. I used to work at a movie theatre, and one unremarkable afternoon I was behind the counter working on the till. Making small talk with a couple of the girls on my shift, I mentioned Leonardo DiCaprio and his teenage girlfriend, a topic I found amusing. And one thing led to another, and one of the girls was interrogating me, asking my opinion on women, asking if body count mattered. And despite me not wanting to give an answer, as I didn't want to cause a stir and upset her, she kept pressing. Eventually I responded, saying I believed a woman with a high body count wouldn't make a good partner because she would have trouble committing. The girl recoiled in shock, clearly taken aback. I didn't think much of it at the time. The conversation ended there and my shift continued on, and nothing much out of the ordinary happened in the following few days. The following week, however, as I was just getting ready to start work, I was called in abruptly from the head office. I went over, and before I could even sit down, the manager had begun accusing me of being a misogynist and a chauvinist. He was throwing out a slew of things I had never said. It was a blatant kangaroo court. He spoke to me with the utmost vitriol, denouncing me as an intolerant, despicable person, and declared he was firing me. I asked him, did I not have the right to speak freely? I hadn't insulted anybody, I had simply shared my opinion when asked. I should keep my mouth shut and keep those thoughts in my head, he spat out, with that dismissing me. I got up and left. It's no coincidence he used those exact words, keep those thoughts in your head, as if someone never says something, he is not like to think it. He was trying to program me into being ashamed of what I believed, despite I not having said anything harmful to anyone or even illogical, and also being an immigrant from another country with a different culture and beliefs. This is something he could care less about. Keep to your own, as he told me. He saw me as an attack on the system that he had spent his whole life defending. It left him with no choice but to immediately get rid of me, and, not stopping there, he slandered my name to make himself appear the just one. Operating under the guise of tolerance, the last thing he said to me was, "The worst thing is, you think you're right." A strong-willed free thinker today is a dangerous thing, just how it was in my home country of Bulgaria 40 years ago under draconian socialist rule. The difference being, the heroes of my country, when they fought bravely for what they believed and were subsequently ruthlessly executed, were therefore made into martyrs. It was clear to everyone who was in the right. The oppressor had killed the just man in an attempt to silence him. That's not what will happen today, however. They've gone smarter. The last thing they want to do is create a martyr. So what do? Slander the name, make him seem a despicable person, kill his reputation, and only then, if absolutely necessary, shall he be killed. Or rather, he'll kill himself, a guilty and broken man running from the shambles of his evil life. At least, that's what they'd like us to believe. The guise of tolerance they built is falling apart, and their motive beginning to reveal itself. And it's far more insidious, to control information and thought. Because once you control these two things, you have ultimate power.